Hello guys, it's Sammy. Welcome. I never know what to say after it's Sammy. I'm like, didn't mean to flex. Okay, wait, no, but actually, isn't this kind of cute? I just got it today in the mail. And I'm the kind of person that as soon as I buy something or I get something that I just ordered, I have to use it. Like, I have to wear it. Today, I'm gonna share with you all of my college audition stories, auditioning to be a dance major. I've told these stories like so many times, only because they're iconic. Not because I'm obsessed with myself, because every single one of them was either very smooth and successful or was just tragic and had some very embarrassing moments. Things like forgetting my ballet shoes, my dad snoring in the lobby in front of all the dance moms, my music stopping in the middle of my solo, not knowing what to say to an interview question and being like, I'm just gonna go in chronological order, but coincidentally, every single audition story gets worse because once I got into NYU and that was my top choice, I kind of was over it. So by the time I got to my last audition, it was just, you could tell that my subconscious was done trying. Before I start, make sure that you subscribe and that you turn on that notification bell. I make college content about going to NYU and New York City exploration content, and my edits are bomb if I do say so myself, so like this video if you're a human being. My first audition was for the University of Texas in Austin. It wasn't my top choice, but it was still up there with the schools that I really wanted to go to, so it was a really good audition to have first. For sure, I would say that the vibe of this audition and the NYU audition were very similar. It was really chill, non-judgmental, and inviting, and that really helps to calm my nerves. And I actually say this a lot, but the UT audition was my favorite audition. It went so smoothly and so beautifully, and all of the students that were working the audition were extremely nice, and they would voluntarily answer all of our questions when we were in the waiting room. Maybe it was my favorite audition because it was the only Texas school audition I did, and Texas people are some of the nicest people, and at the rest of my audition, you could sense that cutthroat New York vibe. Also, you could really tell the difference between the people at that audition and the people that were at the rest of my auditions because nobody there was giving me bitchy stares or anything. Everyone seemed very kind and lighthearted in their presence. I didn't feel like I was backstage at YGP. I remember when I walked in and right before I started my solo, the faculty was very reassuring. They were like, you know, take some deep breaths before you start and nod your head whenever you're ready. Take your time. They were such cuties and they were all smiling at me. I could tell that they didn't want me to fail. There was no interview portion that I remember, but they did ask me a few questions after I finished my solo, and I was out of breath because we had to fill out a little paper in the waiting room of little minor details. And so they saw that it was self-choreographed and they were like, oh my gosh, what is your background like? And I remember that the hip-hop teacher was so sweet and she was like, I would be so lucky to get to work with you. She didn't have to say that. That was really nice. They were just so open and not intimidating. Also, I swear this isn't me just gassing myself up. This is actually the only audition that went completely well. So that audition experience ended with them giving a presentation and Q&A for the parents, and that had current students and professors, and we got to ask whatever questions we had. They had a little PowerPoint presentation and it was super wholesome. My next audition was for Alvin Ailey, which is the dance program in Fordham, and I got to do that audition in Dallas at Booker T, and so I was geeking out because if you know, you know. This one felt a little bit more formal. Everybody was in a black leotard and tights. When I checked in, I could see that the vibe of these people was a little different. It was a little bit more competitive. I was already getting looks, that whole kind of thing. But I did get to talk to a few people when we were stretching outside and waiting for it to start. And so I made some friends and we followed each other on Instagram, and actually the one girl that I talked to the most actually goes to Alvin Ailey now, so congrats. One thing that really stood out to me and made me really sad was that I had good Gordon training, except the whole audition I didn't feel seen at all. Didn't feel like the people running the audition ever looked at me, which was weird. I kind of got the feeling that they just weren't interested, and it made me feel even worse that I could tell that some people there were definitely doing Gordon for the first time. Yes, they were well trained, but their lateral T's were looking like lateral Y's.
Sorry.
But yes, after the ballet and the Gordon technique classes, it was time to do my solo, and my parents were stressing the fact that I need to put my phone on airplane mode. I didn't forget, but when I was in the middle of my solo, my music stopped. So it was just running through my head for the rest of my solo. Did I not put my phone on airplane mode? Is somebody calling me right now? at the worst time. And so I finished the second half of my solo in silence, probably just like a minute. And they looked so apologetic and I could tell something was wrong. And they were like, we're so sorry, like our wire sucks. They said that they moved it and the music stopped and so it's their fault and that they apologize. Didn't give me the option to do it again or anything. I was like, you missed my musicality. But I was like, it's okay, you can do no wrong. And I just said thank you and exited, and that was it. And then it was the interview portion, and I just know that I was so awkward. I think it was mostly because of what happened in my solo and I was already just feeling really insecure. I won't blame it on that. They asked some questions about the Alvin Ailey company that I did not know how to answer, about very specific pieces, just some very awkward stares. Then when I got the rejection letter, it was like, oh, but we would still love you at our summer intensive, like we accept you. And I was like, thank you, but I need a degree. Moving on, the next audition was the most important one to me. It was the NYU audition. And for that one, we sacrificed and we flew all the way to New York from Texas. This was the one audition that my family and I were like, we're gonna go all the way there because they didn't have any other option, basically. The whole experience was really fun. I did have some awkward moments, but that's just because since it was so important to me, I got really nitpicky with myself. But if you want to hear the whole story of my NYU audition, go to my How I Got Into NYU video. I talk about the whole process, the whole audition, my academics, everything. One thing that was really starting to hit at that audition was how many people get cut. When my parents saw more than half of the people walk out of the studio because they had just gotten cut, it really hit us. We're really sacrificing and doing all of these trips for these auditions just to get a maybe, just to leave and still not even know if I got in or not, even if I didn't get cut. So it was really freaking us out because I didn't have a plan B. I wasn't applying to colleges for any other majors. And when I landed on the flight home from the NYU audition, I got an email that was a rejection for a USC audition. Very obviously, I expected that. Like, let's be real, I didn't expect to get that, but I was really just trying to do everything that I could, applying everywhere that I could. Plus, USC seemed more accessible because I remember seeing that there was an option that if you were eligible, they could like fly you out and you could stay in the dorm during like the night of that audition or something. So it just seemed accessible. That's pretty much my reason. Anyway, on to how I literally got scammed by Marymount Manhattan. Scammed. So one of the main reasons that I applied to Marymount was because they had a choreography concentration in the dance major and they just offered many different tracks. Also because of the accessibility of it, they had an audition in Austin, Texas, a 4-hour drive from home. So I got there and there was this lady that I recognized. She was the owner of the studio where the audition was being held, and I've seen her at dance competitions with her competition team every year of my high school competitive life. And so it's just her in the room, right? And we're all just like stretching, getting ready. We have our numbers on. And then she breaks the news and she's like, hi y'all. So the Marymount representatives that were gonna come and teach you the audition class today got snowed in New York because there's a snowstorm right now. So it looks like I'm going to be running the audition today. They already gave me the okay. And yes, I will be taking care of all of you today. Do you already see? Do you see what's wrong here? Because her whole competition team was auditioning.
Let's unpack that.
And I'm pretty sure all the people who weren't in her competition team, everybody else who weren't those 8 people, were like, who are you? Then she reads this thing straight off her phone, talking about Marymount and the program before we get started, because she doesn't know anything about the program, because she's not a part of their program. So she's just like reading it off the webpage as if we didn't do that before the audition. So then I believe she taught ballet and modern. I think she had like an assistant. I remember multiple people coming in, but like she said, the Marymount people weren't there. So I guess they were just some of her studio teachers, like, I don't know. And then the cut after technique came and there was a super like short mysterious list on the wall. Everybody runs up to it and there's just 10 names on it. Mind you, there was probably like 40 people at the audition. So this list of people were the ones who were going to get to do their solo and do an interview with her. Everyone could definitely see and sensed what was going on. And the biggest thing of all is that how could Marymount let that happen? The whole list was her competition team plus 2 more people. And one of those people goes to Juilliard, and I think the other person goes to like Sonny Purchase or George Mason. I only know because we have a mutual friend. So I'm guessing that she literally just put those 2 people so that it wouldn't be as obvious. Do you see how that was a scam and it's not just me being petty? Please agree with me in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm being petty, but that's a scam. So this leads me to my last audition. I only have UT and NYU as a possibility. I think by then I had already gotten a rejection from Alvin Ailey. So I did a lot of research, and then I found Pace University, and they had a very similar application video that comes prior to getting an audition. I got my USC video and edited that a little bit. I got an audition for Pace. We booked my flight for February 18th, and since I did early decision 2 for NYU, I got into NYU February 15th. Yay! Celebration time. I didn't necessarily have to audition anymore because I was binded to NYU, kind of, because I got a half scholarship. My parents were super excited and proud of me that they were like, you know what, we already have the flight. Let's just go and take pictures in front of all the NYU flags so we can like tell everyone that you got into NYU. And so we just hoped that my little I got into NYU little poster thing would come in on time, and then it did. It got in like the night before we left. So the main reason I came is to have a very cute Instagram post. I did also go to like an NYU Student show and walked around the outside of the campus. But yeah, I still went to the Pace audition. Did I try? I think I did. But I think my subconscious was just so done. I did so many college applications, I don't even remember how many, more than I did auditions. And I was just so done. Like I felt so much relief that I knew where I was going to school already. So I think my subconscious was not on the same page as my body. Pace audition was a mess. So since we had been out celebrating, I went to the restroom first thing when I got there so that I could change into my ballet tights and outfit. And then I started freaking out and like scavenging through my bag because, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't bring my ballet shoes. And there was no time to go to a store and buy some. So I took the L. I took the L. I did a ballet audition without ballet shoes. If you were at that February Pace audition and you saw a girl struggling the tights over barefoot, it's so embarrassing. That was me. It's so embarrassing. Just. Then came the jazz portion and we danced to Bruno Mars, and I was just like really caught off guard, but it's understandable because the dance program is a commercial dance program, so it makes sense. But I was just really caught off guard with the Bruno Mars music across the floor, like it was a lot. It was a lot that I was not prepared for. I had probably just come back from eating a giant fat burger. So over it, like not prepared. And then it's the tap portion. I have never done tap before. I think I did one time when I went to the dance awards as an 8th grader, not to compete but just to take the classes. I took a tap class in the back of the room in my Converse, a room with probably thousands of people. And I didn't even bother to go and get tap shoes. I was one of the only 3 people who did that portion with the wrong shoe as well. Just in my sneakers. See, even he is like, ma'am, what are you doing? After doing the tap combination, which just, let me demonstrate for you. It was just the worst experience because also I coincidentally had the number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was number 3. In the front, in the middle, with the table of judges right in front of me, looking like that. So over it at this point. And then they asked each of us if we wanted to improv after. Some people were like, just so embarrassed, because by the time they came to me, I was like, pointing at my shoes and just like, no, I'm good. Just like so rude also, just like, Sorry. While all of this was happening, my dad was also in the lounge snoring his life away. Like, he was so tired, and my mom and brother say that he was snoring so loud, and all the dance moms were just staring at him like... Oh, I forgot to mention there was also a hip hop portion. That went okay. I had the right shoes for that one. Since I knew where I was going, that was my last audition. That was the end of my college audition journey. Just sacrificed so much, but I would like to think that it was all worth it. Okay guys, thank you so much for getting to this point if you did. Comment which audition story was your favorite and most tragic. Subscribe if you have not already. Turn on the notification bells, like this video, the whole ditty, and I will see you next time.
So casually keep diving